A live look in right now with the London Knights and Kingston Frontenacs. Gods do ascend. I got to give him a lot of credit, a ton of credit. He went with a hot hand. So far, it's 2-0 in that game. But I honestly, even though De Beers has a hot hand right now, I got to give the nod to the Guardian. All season long, it seems like the Guardian has been that steady hand for the London Knights, and I feel like he thrives in situations like this when the pressure is on his shoulders. He really seems to put his best foot forward. In that aspect, I'm a huge Guardian fan. I would put him in a Game 7 any day, at least in terms of talking about the CHL. He is probably one of the best in pressure situations. So it's very interesting to see him in a form like this. So far, he has given up 0 goals in this game. Hey, Gally, have you been watching this game unfold at all, and what's your observations thus far into 15 minutes left in the second period?
Yeah, London's been, it's kind of, back and forth. I've been going back and forth between the two streams as we're talking. Mm-hmm. And obviously the score shows London has kind of controlled the game, but it's been back and forth. Kingston has had their fair share of chances. Obviously, like you just mentioned, the Guardian, he's kind of helped out his guys back there between the pipes. But no, like I said, it's been back and forth, just like this entire series has been. And it's probably going to go right down to the wire. It's going to be another barn burner, I guess. I don't know if you say that in video games, but yeah, it'll be. Looks like it's going to be another tight one. Kingston has a goal now, so it's 2-1. London's lead's cut to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was just going to say, this is the game I saw, Game 6 from the other night, and this was the game that I watched closely because it was amazing how quickly momentum shifted in that last game, and again, just to talk about the way the play shows in the CHL, you guys do something I'd like to see a lot more in the AHL, which is getting it back to the point. Getting shots on goal, you guys are not afraid to shoot. And you know what? As you go up to the AHL and then the NHL, it's even worse. I mean, it's great to pass and cycle, but you've got to get the puck on a net. And you guys in the CHL, at least from looking at this game, getting it on the net, making the goaltender do something, that is so important. And these two teams did that last game, and it looks like they're really struggling in the neutral zone to not make a mistake, but they are passing the puck and they're getting shots on when they can, and that's been the fun part to watch with the CHL.
Getting to the Bears, who is keeping his team in this game as well with 2 minutes to go in the second. His stats in the playoffs so far, he's 3-1. He's got a 91.4 save percentage with a 1.7 goals against average, and really gave Gods no choice but to play him. Looking over at the AHL, T-Sips, is there any goalie that you would like to shout out on the AHL side that's really been spinning on his head in y'all's playoffs and keeping his team in games?
Well, I was watching last night, and I believe that was Hartford. I believe who has Rask, who was .7 away from a shutout in the clinching game, but he's been solid. He was doing well the last few weeks of the season, and then now into the playoffs, he has been the key for them to be able to stay in control of that series. So I think Rask deserves a shout out. He's done well. Mooner, I think, has probably kept this team in it to a certain extent. I know he said he's had a crap game or two in the series, but the Rampage are always going to be in it because of him, and they're going, I believe, to a Game 7 tonight as well. So
awesome.
Don't know if I've seen a lot of outstanding goaltending yet, but it'll get better as we get up the ladder a little bit. But I would say Rask is the one guy who's shining out as far as I'm concerned.
You know, it's funny because I'm gonna get back to that gripping the virtual stick a little bit harder. In my opinion, I'm gonna see if you two gentlemen agree with me. I feel like the goalies grip the virtual stick a little bit more than the skaters in terms of, allowing that bad goal maybe in that first period that makes you second guess yourself, makes you start shaking a little bit in your virtual skates every time they come at you. What's y'all's thoughts on what exactly do y'all think? Do you think the skaters grip the stick a little bit, or do you think the goalies grip the stick, or do you think it's neutral across the board? Gally, I'm going to start with you on that. What are your thoughts on that?
Because I haven't talked to that many. I mean, I talked to goalies obviously, but not about the specific topic of how the nerves are like in games. But I think I think what you said is correct in that obviously the goalie is the last line of defense if they get the player lets them get by, so the goalie is always worried about being sharp, because if he doesn't make the stop, then there's no one behind him. There's no more. You know what I mean? There's no other line behind him. Mm-hmm. So
by the way, I don't mean to cut you off, but Hamilton has cut into North Bay's lead 1-2 with 16 minutes left in the third period. I just wanted to give that update to the people that are watching the stream currently. But continue. I apologize for breaking in.
So yeah, basically, I think probably the goalies do maybe grip the stick or the analog sticks cut a little bit tighter than the players, just because, like I said, they're basically the last line of defense. If it gets by them, it's in the net. So. Speaking of in the net, Kingston just tied it 2-2. So,
Kingston has
there's that barn.
Beautiful goal, by the way.
The barn has just begun to engulf in flames.
5 minutes left. T-Sos, what are your thoughts on that exactly? Who do you think grips the virtual stick a little bit harder?
I think everyone does. I don't think it's one individual or one position for sure. What can happen in goaltending is you can either overplay everything because you're trying to make the desperation save. You're so afraid of the cross crease that you're sliding everywhere, or the other thing that can happen, which actually can be positive, is that you move less. You're a little more frozen in the middle, and you think to yourself, I don't want to make that big slide, and I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm 3/4 of the way out of the net. So, I think for a goaltender, it's either a good thing because they're tight and they're playing very conservative, or it's disastrous because they're sliding everywhere to make a save.
Yeah, as you've seen on the stream right there, Madden's with a big save to keep Hamilton within one. That's really coming down to the wire. Both games really are. Neither of us are playing right now. I have my team currently playing, but I'm not currently playing in it. But can you boys just imagine a Game 7 overtime to move on to the next round? The possibility is there for both the games. The CHL is really putting on a show tonight and really establishing stepping stones for the CHL moving forward, which in the meantime gets into my next, topic, if you will. There is talk from Birthday. I think he accidentally leaked it, actually, from in a thread, but he mentioned 30 teams next season, which I'm pretty sure would fill out the rest of the OHL. If anybody's watching the stream and is not aware, the CHL management application thread is currently pinned to the main forum. ItsGally, I'm going to go to you since you have experience in this topic. Being a GM, do you have any any tips, any insight on being a GM, any help that you would like to extend to a potential GM that is looking to take a team next year in the CHL? Gally, I think your mic is muted, or I cannot hear you.
Yeah, I just think that the main, there's a couple main things, just from, because I filled out the AHL applications for next season as well, and just with talking with different NHL owners that have, talked to me about their AHL positions. Two main things I'd say are be as organized as possible. Because talking to the NHL owners and stuff about possible getting AHL teams.
Once again, I don't mean to cut you off, but Kingston has pulled ahead of the London Knights with 49 seconds left in the third period. We're coming down to the wire on that game. I hate to break. It just happens, Gally. I don't know. I promise I don't hate you. It just happens. Big things happen when you talk. Big things happen when you talk. But Kingston has pulled ahead, and they're actually getting outshot in this game, 11-17. London actually also has more time on attack. So it appears that as even as it has been, London has had the edge a little bit in this game. But again, and this has happened, I think, throughout the series, where London has played a lot of
scores again.
Wow, that was an interesting goal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was tough. That's tough for Guardian. There's nothing he can do there. Yeah. I bet he's trying. He's just spamming away on the triangle button, trying to lay down on the puck.
So that will basically put the nail in the coffin. The fat lady is seeing. It looks like Kingston will upset the London Knights, upset that I called. I was the only one to call this upset. London just
scores. 6 seconds left.
But I tell you what, this is interesting action right down to the end of this one.
Oh boy.
And Hamilton just tied the game against Kingston with 42 seconds left.
Yeah, I'll do it. Kingston.
Wow. What a night, boys. What a night that we have cooking up.
Kingston advances. That's,
Kingston
like I said, down to the wire.
Wow, that was that was an interesting finish. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
On that prediction. Got my prediction right.
Did you predict it?
Yeah, I predicted that it would be a barn burner.
Yeah, I know we had fellow CHLers who said, North Bay, never mind. North Bay was on a breakaway with 16 seconds left.
Yeah.
It's coming down right now. It looks like they're going to clear the puck out. They have 7, 6, 5. Here we go. Will we get an overtime? Big save by Maddens. 1.2 seconds left in the third period. It appears to be we are going to have a Game 7 overtime with the North Bay Battalion and the Hamilton Bulldogs T-Sibs. By the way, we have a Game 7 overtime in the AHL as well. The Condors and Rampage are also going overtime.
Wow. So they are not going to give up, this team.
Oh. Were you talking about the Rampage or the Condors?
Both of them, actually, because the Condors have, didn't think much of them. The Rampage have been up at the top all year long, and they've just given, the Condors have just given them fits this playoff season. And probably Mooner, again, I have to take a look at the recording later, but I'm sure Mooner's one of the reasons they're staying in this one.
Yeah, and actually, hopefully Zester is not playing in that game because I'm sure he's a little heartbroken that his boys down in London have been eliminated from the playoffs. Which is interesting to note. If Hamilton wins this game, they will play ItsGally, Sarnia Sting in the second round. And actually, Hamilton eliminated.
That's a tough goal to let up.
And that'll do it.
And that will do it. North Bay overcomes, and with North Bay winning, we will have Prince of Zeus on the show following here in a couple seconds, hopefully, to talk about the series, what went on, and how he felt throughout this game. But Hamilton has just lost in overtime. They were not able to overcome the adversity, which just goes to show you, just like last year, the rules strike again. The team who broke the rules eliminated from the playoffs. But will North Bay continue the streak of the person who benefited from the rules being broken winning the cup? So it's a storyline.
Yeah, that last goal, that's a tough one. I mean, Madden's, was just trying to anticipate the play, but he really got himself out of position and let that short side in. And man, look, you guys played enough. 95% of the players out there want to exploit that short side, and I will let them beat me on a cross crease before I give up that short side. And man, that's a tough way to go down. Obviously everyone in this series played well, but that's a tough loss to take.
Yes, indeed, especially when just last night, everybody was amped up and ready to go for the next series to have that game overturned and then lose in Game 7 in overtime is possibly one of the biggest heartbreakers a team can endure virtually. It just sucks that my team is in it. However, we will always have next season. But wow, Gally, what are your thoughts on London or North Bay and Hamilton, and what transpired in this game and on that goal that was just scored by North Bay?
Yeah, that's a really tough loss for Hamilton. They last night up until I think it was just past midnight. Up until then, they had the series locked up, and they were, heading to the practice rink to get ready for the second round. The rules are the rules, and they got the rules, bit them in the butt a bit.
Can't complain. Look back and complain about it. You just gotta learn from it. I'm not sure if Maddens will be an owner next season, but I'm sure he's learned from his mistakes. I feel bad, honestly, for Maddens. Honestly, I mean, to make the mistake that led to Hamilton having to play Game 7 and then allowing a short side goal. When he was playing the cross, don't blame Maddens for either. Really, stuff happens, but it's really tough for him. Sibs, can you imagine being in his shoes? What can you imagine that Maddens is feeling right now?
Well, I'll tell you what. Late in the season, I was in a critical game, and this is why I can't blame him too much. I was in a critical game that was very important to whether or not we were going to get into the playoffs. We go to overtime, and I let up a fluky, from one end of the ice to the other, clearing shot go past me. Just didn't play it right, hit the stick the wrong way, and boom, we lose an overtime game. And I came really close to breaking a headset and probably didn't do anything good for my controller. But I was absolutely upset about that, and just it is heartbreaking. It is just, it just hurts a lot. You feel like you let your team down, and in the end, it's you're the one who is going to let a goal in. They're not going to blame the defense for the most part. People are going to say, hey, too bad he couldn't stop that one. So, obviously that team played well all year, but and in this season, in this series, but when it comes down to a goal like that at the end, that's sickening. And he's got to feel like hell right now.
Seriously, and I know Maddens as a guy, he comes off with a hard exterior, but he really does have a soft interior. So I can imagine how he is playing how he is feeling at this very moment. I've never seen him turn the stream off that fast, honestly.
Well,
But
I'm just going to say for the AHL, both the Wolves moved past the Lake Erie Monsters, and it looks like the Condors knocked off the Rampage. So that's an upset for the Condors, but the Wolves have a solid team, will move on, and now the AHL is set for round 2 as well. And I guess what I would ask you guys is, with the way things are now for the next round, this would be the right time to do a preview to say, okay, who's going to be there in the end, and if you want to take over with that and talk about what you think is coming up, who's going to be the tough match here.
I will take that question first, if I may. I will say, be as it may, I am 4 for 4 in my predictions of what has happened in the first round. I was a little bit wrong. I was 1 game off on getting the series exactly right for London. And the Kingston series, I was completely wrong on the series count for North Bay and Hamilton. I had North Bay in 5. I was dead right on Sarnia. I had that sweep, the only sweep, and again, I was 1 game shy on the other series. But however, looking into it now, it's going to be Ottawa and Kingston. Man, I love Kingston. Honestly, that's my team. I'm going to root for Kingston. God knows I play with Kingston a lot. Huge fan of Rantalion. I'm the #1 Fantalion. But I got to have Ottawa in that series, honestly. I feel like Ottawa is going to be too much for Kingston to handle in a 7-game series. I think where Kingston beat London in depth, they're not going to beat Ottawa in depth. So really, I think just evaluating that series, I think it's going to come down to goalie play, really. Does Ottawa get back to playing really shitty goaltending as they had coming down the stretch in the last 2 weeks? Can the Bears and Gods continue on their streak of playing really well goaltending? So I think it's going to come down to that. North Bay, however, I will say, and it's not only because Gally is here as my co-host, but I will give the nod to the North Bay and Sarnia. That is going to be a series to watch. That is going to be an epic series. It's going to be North Bay, with the rule that overturned that game, that allowed that Game 7 to happen. Are they riding on destiny? Will they ride that destiny all the way to win the Memorial Cup, or will the Sarnia Sting continue their hot streak and knock them off? Honestly, that is a very hard series to gauge. So I'm just going to go with my heart here, and this is like a really spot question here. I'm going to go with my heart here and say I'm going to have North Bay in 6. And that is don't hate me, Gally, but I got North Bay in 6. I believe in the Zeus. But Gally, go on with your prediction on what might transpire in the next round.
I think the Ottawa and Kingston series, that's gonna be both teams have some good depth right through. From what I've seen this round, both teams have reliable goaltenders. All 3 areas of their lineup, are pretty. Their GMs and owners can pretty much rely on anyone on their roster. You know what? I think this is going to be a long series. Kingston, they went 7 games in the first round. I think this is going to go at least 6. And I'm going to have to give a slight nod to if it goes 6, if Kingston can, I think Kingston, they play the cards right, they can get it in 6. If it goes 7, if they give, if Ottawa has that last opportunity to play any line they want, I think, they could take it if it goes 7, but any less than that, Kingston has a real good chance there.
Are we going to play Chlpsn on your series, or you're not going to get into that, or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
It's okay. We'll play the Chlpsn card. I don't know if you probably don't, but maybe T-Sips is aware of college football. But Kirk doesn't make no prediction on the games he's commentating. So I'm gonna let you off on that, Gally. It's okay.
Oh, you should never let a guy have to predict his own series. He's obviously, you don't get this far without thinking you can win it all.
Exactly.
So I haven't seen the teams enough to know, but I know Gally's team's been pretty consistent all year long, and the battalion as well. So, you would think this is going to go 6 or 7, and I think even Gally alluded to it. Goaltending, who's hot, and like we were talking about earlier, a couple of mistakes here and there in these games could mean the difference. So, I would think it's going to be a solid series, and it's going to come down to, who's more consistent out there game after game, and doesn't make the big mistake. I think that's, you can kind of say that about a lot of playoff matches, but that's when teams are this good. I think that's what you come down to. Who makes the big mistake, and that's going to cost you a game here and there.
Definitely. I you've seen it with Hamilton. It doesn't even have to be with rules, but it's just who's going to make the first mistake in these next series. Because if you looked at our season all season long, seeds 2 through 12 were very close. Hamilton went into the last week in 3rd place, 4 points out of 2nd, and had to win their last game to get into the playoffs. So it's really tight, and that's why that was such a spot question, because the teams are so close. Like, there's not much that separates these teams in the CHL. So I feel like that's why I love this league so much in the CHL, because you just never know, who's going to come out on top, because they're so close. But I'm working on getting Prince of Zeus in the call right now.
I think he was there and then dropped off, so let's see if we can
get back. But even with the controversy at in the North Bay Hamilton series, though, nobody, and I'm sure nobody is, but if anybody is, I know even on Hamilton, that's going to take this win away from North Bay, definitely shouldn't. They've earned this win. They've earned this win. They deserve it, honestly. But hold on, I'm doing 2 things at once. No, we were doing this on Skype. He thought we were doing it on Google Hangouts, so I guess it was a bit of a miscommunication. But they deserve it. And we actually have Prince of Zeus. I'm going to use a line that Vihai and Sib said last night. Fresh out of the showers, Prince of Zeus, how are you doing tonight?
Dude, I am on so many drugs right now. That's how high I am. I feel, not gonna lie, I feel terrible about how it happened, getting to Game 7. I wish we had gotten there without the rules being it is what it is. But to win in that fashion, damn.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't know.
You know, even being a Hamilton player, rules are rules. Rules are not made to be broken. They're made to be followed. So I congratulate you in your win tonight and in the series. It's going to be very interesting going forward. How it was a very, y'all went up 2-0. Hamilton, scored a goal, tied it up in the waning seconds of the third period. Take me through your emotions in that game, in the party chat. How was your team responding as that game was going along?
So I think we went up into the third. We were up 2-0, and we let in the first one. We were like, it's okay, we just keep playing our game. We got this. We'll be fine. And then that last tip in, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of deflated a few of us. But I mean, it's deflections. Like, we kind of just like, well, it was a deflection. Let's try to get back into it. And then I had the breakaway going into like the final seconds of the game, and I was like,
what's going on with the
yo,
itself?
I'm gonna go backhand. And I got tripped up a little bit, and that's okay. But then I was able to say, you know what? I guess I'll have to score another one and earn that Player of the Year title that I got. And there it is. Game winner.
And that's for sure. You were definitely my Player of the Year, and y'all played really well in this game, honestly. I felt like y'all really, honestly, I believe y'all got outshot in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah.
I feel like y'all always had that game in control. I just felt like,
we did. There was a point in time where it was like one of our guys was kind of, we'll say he's a baguette. We'll just leave it at that. The person that I hope he's listening should know who that is. So, but he was just being himself, and unfortunately, it kind of cost us a few weird turnovers that aren't really expected out of us, and that kind of put us in some difficult situations, which. Our goalie, BNYC, he showed up big. Like, he wasn't even supposed to be scheduled tonight. I was supposed to have Halden Hawk in there.
I'm not too sure if they'll be out.
Yeah, he came up big, and I was like, yo, I need a goalie. He's like, yo, I got you. And he freaking comes up, allows 2. So, that kid's MVP, not me.
You're still my MVP. Gally, do you have any questions for Prince of Zeus?
No, not really. Nothing I can think of off the top of my head. Other than maybe, what was your reaction when the news came down that your season, in fact, wasn't over, and you had one more game to play?
So, like, when the game was over, Game 6, I kind of took it pretty hard because most of us managers, owners have been putting, like, the last 9-10 weeks into this, because scouting before the season started even. I'd been doing this for about a month out of the season starting, so like I've got a good 3-4 months invested. So when we initially lost, I was like so done. And when it cleared my friends list, I was like, I don't need these fucks anymore. And then I get the news. I was like, wait a minute. Like, one of my players messaged me. He's like, hey, the game might be overturned. And I was like, well, for what reason? So then I started digging into it a little bit myself. I was like, huh.
All right, so
why did the player change at the last minute in Game 5, and then he played in Game 6? That's not right. And then I submitted an appeal, but they didn't even look at it. They had their own justice system involved already. Like, they messaged us at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I messaged my GM and AGM, and I was like, get the team back right now. And they were like, what do you mean? I'm like, we're in. Let's go. So
nice. So I'm going to caveat off that question. So what was it hard to get the team back together for Game 7? Was that a little tough for you, or were they ready to go from the start?
It took me about 30 minutes. They were, let's just put it this way, we wanted blood. we really, really, really wanted to play Game 7. Omega was supposed to even jump in instead of Rock. He was going to be our one ECU for forward that game or whatever. And Omega has been with me and I all year. Like, together, the three of us put up over 200 points. Like, it was going to be a bloodbath, hopefully. But it turned out that we had to use Rock, and Rock has been in the AHL all year. But he played with us originally, like, the first 3 weeks. So the synergy was there, but a little lacking because he plays slower because that's what the AHL plays like. Just from what I remember
Just
playing.
gonna attest to it.
Yeah,
I
we
mean-
pretty much were saying that earlier. You guys, the game is a lot quicker, a lot more passes, quicker passes, and then shots on goal. So the puck is moving constantly.
See, that's what I'm trying to teach these guys before the NHL draft comes around. Because a lot of people up there, like John Hardcock is my AGM or whatever, and he is telling me, he's like, if you keep playing like that, you're going to change the game. I'm like, I hope to. Because the NHL, I've watched their games, they all play slow, controlled style. What happens when you put a playmaker, a sniper, or a dangler? Yeah, you might hit him once or twice, but when he gets past you, if he can execute,
Right.
you're gonna change your game. Because that person is going to get exploited over and over and over. Because the teams up there adapt. If they see something's working, they'll pick up on it.
Right. Without question, and that's that is pretty much what you guys have done. I think when we see what you know, what you guys, the level that you play at, and how you work in every individual player. We see this in the AHL, just this dangle mentality. You know, I'm gonna try and move the puck around myself in the corner. I'm gonna play with it for 30 seconds and then have it knocked off my stick. And it's I really hope that more guys get to see some of these games that you guys have played, because that is just not how the CHL works. You're using everybody out there, and you're moving the puck a lot quicker, and that spreads the defense out.
Lemon yellow.
Yeah. I hate to say that I am guilty of being a dancer in the circle. I'm not gonna lie, like I do that a lot. Even in the CHL, I dance a lot. But my team is like fully supportive. They're like, dude, if you see something, make it happen. They've seen me do it all year, so they believe in me in that single aspect. But it comes to the point of like, the team play itself is what got us this far. So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that this game, and I didn't.
Air vent.
Thankfully, and it paid off.
Nice. Congratulations on your series against Hamilton. Looking
yeah,
ahead,
bag with
as awkward as it will be with Gally, can you preview the next series of the Sarnia Sting and North Bay Battalion for people who do not follow your two teams?
But no,
Ooh.
not that generally.
Well,
Not yet, anyway.
shit.
Oh, down late for them.
Sick in the head is by far going to be probably the biggest headache we'll ever have. And they found a backup goalie out of nowhere. So he's from what I hear, is just as good.
6 layers worth.
I mean,
sitting out.
Sick in the head was undefeated, then I played against him and he lost. So, chirp. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think it can go 7, just like our series did. Theirs went 4. I was like, damn, that was unexpected, because a lot of the owners and managers were pretty adamant that it was going to go like at least 6, because Rambo was getting a lot of his players back.
How can I help you?
But yeah, I was
And we've got
thoroughly surprised.
We do have a question from I-2797.
And what's the active direction?
Would you rather play Sarnia or the 67s? Maybe it's a little premature to talk about the finals, but if we're going to try and maybe answer the question that someone's got out there, if you got past the next round, would you have any preference on who you played?
No.
No.
I don't have a preference. I think they all have their unique styles, but I do think they're all beatable. So it's not anything I'm really too concerned about right now. Like, I have got to do a lot of roster changes. I got some players back from the AHL because their first round is being completed. So my roster is going to get a little bit stronger each week as the playoffs go on. So I think I got like 2 defensemen and 3 forwards back from the AHL just because the first round is over.
Wow.
So that's basically an entire line.
Is that a problem to manage for you? I mean, obviously you've got guys who contributed who are not going to see as much time. How do you deal with that?
So going in, like, here's a perfect example, right? It's extremely difficult. I'm not gonna lie. Going into first round Sunday, like 2:00 in the afternoon, my starting goalie gets called up by Rochester.
Right.
I'm like, are you kidding me? I gotta find a backup. And he only played 11 games for me, but he was 9-2 with like a 1.9 GAA. Like, he was a god, and I lost him. So I had to find a backup. Diabolical became my starter, and then I had to pull in BNYC. Now I've got to find. I think I gotta find another goalie, which is gonna suck, but I'll make do. But it's rough. I'm not gonna lie, it really is.
Yeah.
Like, they want to get better up there, and I don't blame them for taking the better players from down here. I mean, that's what we're there for. But at the same token, it does have its backlashes from time to time.
Yeah, there is that trickle down effect. You know, obviously the NHL does that to the AHL teams as well. But yeah, and you guys certainly are a growing pool of players in the CHL, and if they can find somebody who's played well, then you're going to wind up losing. That's, and of course, AHL or CHL. I think those are GM and AGM spots that are probably the toughest because of what you just talked about.
Yeah, I think that's a small understatement.
I have a question because I was talking in a room with someone, and I think I was even watching the AHL show, and they kind of brought this up, and I'm going to take it a step further since you were in here. Let's say you have MysticMac on your team, Prince.
Okay.
And I've been with you all season long. I've played well, you know, and I'm a solid guy, maybe second or third line defenseman for you. Been there all season, you know, never missed a game, solid for you. And an AHL guy gets knocked out of the playoffs, gets called down to you. Do you feel bad in any way for putting that guy in my spot when I've been there for you all season?
Well, do I feel bad? Yeah. Like, if I do have to end up doing that.
Changes.
But what it does come down to, it's like they obviously did play in a higher league. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that they were good. That could have just meant that they had a friend. Very highly possible. So what I'll look at going forward is, how did you lose in the playoffs? Did you get destroyed, or were they close games? Did you have a good season, or did you go like -30? You know what I mean? All of that will come into play. It won't just be like, oh, he's AHL, he's gonna get your spot, deal with it. No. Like, I'm very calculated, but I'm also very, very cold. I'll feel bad for like 5 seconds. And I'll send you a message like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I hope you're okay with it. If not, I'm sorry. Like, that's what it comes down to. I mean, I'm putting a team together to win it all, not to babysit people's feelings. as bad as it may sound, it's just, I want the best. And if someone in my TC who was, you know, dominating the AHL gets knocked out of the playoffs, and I have a CHL guy struggling, I'm of course going to make that choice.
So, before I let you go, T-Sibs or Gally, do you have any questions for Zeus?
No, that's it for me.
No, I think he's had a long enough night.
Let him go and finish it. He cut it short. He didn't wash his hair because he was trying to get over to the booth.
See, funny part is like, I'm at work.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna let you get back to work.
No, I'm on lunch break. I still got 3 minutes.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, do you have anything to add, Zeus, before we let you go?
Well, I guess if we're playing Sarnia, you know, good luck, Gally. Like, hopefully we'll make it go longer than 4 and give you an actual challenge.
Yeah, right.
Good luck, dude. Be a good one.
Take it easy, guys.
All right.
All right, I'll see you, Prince. So that was Prince of Zeus, fresh.
We lose you there, Mac?
I guess I dropped. When someone drops, I drop. That's weird. But fresh off his win, Prince of Zeus. I'm gonna continue with you, Sivs, on that because I'm pretty sure, if I'm not tripping, I did hear you guys talk about it in the AHL, and you're pretty in the you know, the smoke, if you will, with the league. You know a lot about it. So it leads to this question. Do you think, and let's not try to get too much into the weeds, but do you think there's anything the league can do to stop those, you know, from that happening? You know what I mean? From an AHL guy coming down to a CHL squad to help him, you know, win the championship, and for the NHL to AHL and vice versa. And also, do you think it's right for teams to be able to do that, or do you think it's kind of wrong?
Yeah, you know what? It's an interesting question. Part of me feels bad for the guys who get bumped and wind up losing playing time. But it's all part of the real game too. If we're trying to simulate this, and I think that's what we're trying to do as much as possible. If we're trying to simulate what's going on in the real game, I think you have to play with the same situations that would happen elsewhere, and there's always a danger of guys getting called up from minor league hockey up to another level, and you wind up losing people. So it's a challenge of it, but I do feel bad for the guys who can't play. I feel bad for the owners and GMs who have to make tough decisions. But because it is a real part of the game, I don't know. Look, it makes it a challenge. I don't know if it's something you get rid of. I think it's it's a challenge, and like I said, in some ways, not in some ways. I think it is absolutely harder to be a CHL owner GM than it is to be AHL, and then even more so being an NHL owner. They do bidding. They have to re-sign players, but they can steal from wherever. You guys get pillaged constantly, and I applaud anybody who is an owner or a GM or a GM in the CHL, because to me that's the toughest job around. But I would say, you were talking earlier. What do you tell a guy who wants to be an owner in the CHL? That's one of the things you'll warn them about. Be prepared to lose guys, to figure out what you're going to do next. And I considered doing it in the CHL, but I realize how tough it is, and I think you need good owners and good GMs who are willing to scout players, who are willing to do a lot of scouting games through LG and get to learn who's out there, and then decide, who do I make part of my team, and this guy's really good, and if I can get him, that's great, but I may wind up losing him after a couple of weeks. So it's a hellish job, and I decided not to do it because I think it's too much to do. If you're going to do it right, it's a lot of work, and so anybody who's running these teams in the CHL, God bless you, because that is not an easy job.
So before I make this mistake, I'm going to just ask you, T-Sibs, is there an ejection tool on Skype?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think there is, right? Can you eject anybody from the call?
Yeah. Whoever started the call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. So yeah, I can bounce.
All right, cool. Because I'm about to invite some controversial guys from the Kingston Frontenacs. A lot of people around the CHL, with the exception of London, want to see these guys on a show. I'm about to make that dream come true for Bure and K-Mac, but they're very controversial, and I'm not really trusting what they're about to say. So I have added them to the call, so we'll see how this plays out. It's really a test run. Maybe they'll prove me wrong.
Well, we'll do what we have to, but obviously, Gally, you have a lot to do with your team, and that has to be one of the most frustrating parts of what you do, is you have to constantly worry about losing good players, and it can't make your job easy.
Yeah, which, you're an owner too, Gally, so how would you feel if you had to do that to a guy who's been there all season long for you, and you get a guy from the AHL and you got to call that guy down who's been there for you? Like, what goes through your mind when you're like typing that message explaining why you sent him down? Like, do you feel cold as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, it is tough, especially if the guy's been there the whole season. So I don't really know. I'm trying to think back. I don't think I was faced with that exact situation this season, but some similar ones where it was a tough choice to if we got a guy back from the AHL and it was a tough choice, that maybe a guy who just recently got called up to the roster. It's tough to tell them like that, because it's tough to tell them, we got our guy back, you're going to have to go down to TC. I've been fairly lucky. A lot of my guys I've tried to bring in TC guys who are reliable, and they don't complain. They always tell me, I'm ready to go if you need me, just let me know. Because if you got guys that constantly are just going to complain because they're not on the main roster, then 9 times out of 10 when you actually need an ECU and you go to them, they're going to try to get revenge on you for not bringing them up to the roster, or they'll be like, no, you wouldn't let me play before, so why would I play for you now, and stuff like that. So you just gotta, it's just about knowing what type of guys you got, or girls, on your team.
Joining us now is Bure, who actually plays for the Wolves right now, but he was a season-long Kingston Frontenac. This has been long awaited. I know a lot of people were looking forward to having Bure on the show. How are you doing tonight, Bure?
Well, I'm doing great, man. We, both my teams won, so, I get to keep playing with Chicago, and, wow, I'm telling you what, man, watching all 4 of those games tonight was crazy. Some of the best hockey I've seen.
Which game did you have a particular interest in? Where you have them screen by screen by screen?
Oh, I had them all screened up, man. I was watching all of them.
Nice.
Obviously, I had 2 horses in the running, so that watching the Kingston game came down to the wire, and the Chicago game we basically won with a tipped goal that the ref had to call good or no good. Another controversy, and it went our way that time. So.
I feel like you're physically in Chicago, but your heart is in Kingston.
Yeah, that's probably true. Obviously, I have to prepare to play the Rockford Ice Hogs now, so that'll be an interesting task. I haven't played them, so it'll be interesting to go watch some video and see how their forwards play. You're prepared for that, so.
You could speak on this because you've been on, like I said, Kingston all season long. How excited were you when you guys drew London first? Did you feel like it gave you guys the edge over London? Was there any noticeable differences between the two teams that just gave y'all the edge, which ultimately led to y'all winning in Game 7 and moving on?
I just think, it's a video game, but I think the overall skill and talent of the team of Kingston came to the top in this Game 7. I think it showed, you can put your best players out there on a line together and make your, all-star team of your team. And I think it showed that, both teams are really skilled, and I think the edge we had was, overall skill going into that game. So I see, Kingston moving on further and further in the playoffs, so.
It's interesting that you say that. Moving on forward, y'all do get the lucky draw of Ottawa, some may say, with Ottawa struggles coming down the stretch. What are you expecting to happen in this next series coming against Ottawa? Give us a little preview.
I really think that it's going to be a lot tougher compared to even London, depending on the line matchups that Ottawa throws out in the first couple games. I would think that they would want to pounce and play probably against Kingston's second or third line, depending on how God's, works that out. But I expect Ottawa to try to set the tone early and try to, shut us down right at the beginning. So I think you're going to see lots of heavy matchups at the beginning.
Sibs pointed to this. In the show. London, it was so back and forth. And Gallup said this, they would win, you would win. They would win, you would win. They would win, you would win. And even in games, it'd be a goal. Like tonight, it would be so back and forth. What was the mood? I know you weren't in the games, but what was the mood in the team chat thing going down in this series? I'm sure there was a lot of chirping, but what was the real feel?
It's funny you say that. I actually gave both teams speeches because I wasn't playing any of their game before the game, and I said, you know what? Don't win this for the team. Win this one for me. So I kind of was selfish. You know, I was like a little selfish. I was like, you know what? You guys just win it for me. You know, I want you guys to both win. I want both teams to win. I want you guys to move on because both teams deserve to, and they've played really well. And obviously, playing with Chicago, I think I won one game and lost one game. So it was kind of, bittersweet that we couldn't close it in 6. So I wanted, one of the teams to advance because I wanted to keep playing, but it happens that both teams advance. So I'm glad they won.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe Kingston can pull the upset against Ottawa, and my AHL affiliate can knock Chicago out, and we can have our Bure back in the CHL.
I don't want that. I want to keep moving in the AHL. But hey, I'll go back. I'm sure they'll welcome me back to the team. But they've proved that they don't really need me in Kingston. So there's so much talent that they don't need me to go through the next round even. So I have faith that they're gonna win it.
So I guess I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Prince of Zeus, that EYE, asked Prince of Zeus. Who would you rather play in the playoffs, Ottawa or Sarnia, if you had a pick?
I would say Ottawa. I think, again, you see the talent on Sarnia is, I think, better. I think they're more dangerous from top to bottom. And they have lots of people that can score, and they have solid defense. So I think that I would be more scared to play Sarnia than I would play against Ottawa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually agree with that. Sarnia is a dangerous team just because they caught fire, really. I mean, they were a 12th place team all the way up to, what, 3rd?
Yeah.
I mean, they're a hot team. And by the way, Bure, before I let you go, I just want to inform you that I am sitting on my couch right now.
That's good. Yeah. Guys, I'm really not a bad guy. Just I like to have fun. You can get me back. I troll, but you can troll me back. T-Sibs and Gally and all that.
Were you picking on were you picking on Mac because he does his show from the couch? Was that it?
No, he was on the floor, and I didn't understand that. I was like, I watched the AHL show. I see everyone sitting in proper seats like you, T-Sibs, and I'm like, why are you sitting on the floor, man? You have a perfectly good couch right behind you. What's going on?
I get the feeling he's not allowed to sit on the couch.
Maybe not. I don't know. But I guess I'm taking up too much time because K-Mac wants to get on, but we shouldn't let him on.
Yeah,
I think I did a better interview than K-Mac. I'm better than he is too anyway. So
I will say this, Bure. Now that I know you as a person, I've actually talked to you. I'm definitely gonna troll you back, bro.
Thanks.
Out of love.
I expect people to do. They don't do it. They just actually Lake Erie did. Shout out to Lake Erie. You tried to win in the Action Center and that didn't work, and but we won it on the ice. So I hope that there's less of that going forward. And the AHL seemed to have quite a bit of that, and I don't think the CHL had as much. So hopefully there's not more people winning games in the Action Center. So I'd rather see games that I saw tonight in the instead of the Action Center. Let's try to keep it following the rules, guys.
There you go.
Seriously. Gally and T-Sibs, do you have any questions for Bure before he goes?
I'm good.
What about you, Gally?
Love you, T-Sibs.
Do you love me?
For the All-Star game.
Oh man.
Well, listen. Good luck in the rest of the playoffs, and it sounds like from here on, obviously. Well, last round certainly no pushover for anybody, but from here on, it's every game is going to be a battle. So good luck moving forward in the semis.
All right, thanks for your time, guys. It was fun.
Yep. I'll see you later, Bure.
Later.
My final thoughts is going forward, the GMs have to follow the rules. In order to, stay in the playoffs, because Hamilton's seen it firsthand that it can very well be a leading force in knocking you out. But, and good luck to the rest of the teams. It should be really good going forward. I appreciate T-Sips coming on and doing this show and putting the show on with the different music and the graphics as well. But I appreciate you coming down. I'm glad that we put on a good show for you, T-Sips.
Yeah, no problem. A lot of
and
fun doing it. Good to get a chance to do a show with you guys, and it looks like you got a lot more to talk about in the next couple of series.
Hold on. Hold on.
But
Think Brandon can suck my dick.
Come on, man. Jeez. Well, that sounded like a fun ending. Let's see if we can get Mac back and Gally to finish this out for you guys. Well, this is always a lot of fun when when you have to deal with this kind of situation. But yeah, loads of fun. I think Mac is back on with us. I'm not sure. Let me take a look here. But if you guys got a chance to watch these two games tonight, obviously it's interesting to see the kind of play you guys are used to seeing all the time and that we're not used to seeing. And it was there were some fun games there, obviously, and so it's it was interesting to see how this all panned out. And I think we have Mac back now.
Yes.
Yes.
So, is this the show?
Yeah, we're still.
Okay.
I'm still vamping until you're ready.
That was an epic. It was a very epic ejection. I'm glad that you had your finger ready.
Well, it wasn't. I don't think I caught it in time, but
I think you can edit it out though, correct, with YouTube.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll deal with that later. Yeah, we got to see a couple of really good games tonight, and just glad to have joined you guys, and well, good luck with the next show too.
Yeah, I appreciate that, T-Sip. So this has been LG Around the Horn, the first inaugural one. I think this went really well. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Good luck to the rest of the teams in the playoffs. This is Mystic Mac, as always, signing out. Bye, guys.